Oh, there we are. There we are. We are live today. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. It's already afternoon. It's definitely afternoon here in Phoenix today. So we're doing something fun, a nice little Q&A session with Larissa, who I've hinted at before, what we're up to. Plus, we have a very special guest. I know that you guys love seeing my cat, but we have a new guest. Miss Rosa Barks is in the house.
Rosa, say hi. Hey, Rosa.
Boom, boom. Yeah, she's excited. She's really, really excited for all of us. So today is very simple. We're talking about small business marketing, talking about why we actually are in this space, and some quick tips, tricks, and mechanisms to really help you. I know we talk a lot about how marketing is impacting not just what we do, but we want to make this very tailored towards what small businesses do and what you can actually start implementing today. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you throw those into the comment section. I want to answer those as much as possible. As you can see, Rosa's quite excited. So if you don't message her and you don't put a comment inside of this,
her feelings will be hurt.
Oh, we're just going to be so devastated. So before we jump into that, Larissa, tell us a little bit about your first time that you've been on the live experience. So tell us about you. We want to know about you and these pups, and let's get started.
Well, I am the owner of this sweet thing right here, and I have a cat who might make an appearance as well. But right now I'm working as the COO of Boundless Media, helping get everything on the back end up and moving, and really focusing on that customer experience and trying to ensure that everything we're doing is something that's actually valuable. Because I think
that's kind of important sometimes.
It is kind of important. Sometimes, we do stuff and we're like, oh, this is so great, but we don't actually think we think it's great, but we're not thinking about it from the person who's actually going through it and going through these systems and doing all these extra things that they don't necessarily know how to do. And we have to think about it from their lens, right? And think do they understand what's going on? Do they understand why they're doing it? Do they, does it make sense? Is it easy? All these big customer questions that go into it, we're focusing a lot on that.
And I mean, that's kind of really why I brought in Larissa in the first place, because my mind tends to go everywhere. So my theory is let's just do everything. And Larissa's been really good at narrowing things down. What's up, Matt? Glad you're in there. My friend, this is the wrong audience for that. Because again, I have cats. She has cats. He's saying hashtag no cats.
No cats?
Well, maybe he's saying no cats because the cat isn't here. So I will find.
Not yet.
I will find the cat for you, Matt. Listen,
he'll come around.
Again, I don't want to divide the line here within the live stream. There are dog people, there are cat people, but aren't we all just pet lovers? Let's talk about pet lovers. What's up, Bonnie? Glad you guys are here. Okay, so the first topic, which is something that it was really exciting to both of us and something that we're both passionate about, is bringing and really democratizing marketing for small businesses. So, Larissa, talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing right now. Because again, you're inside of the process, but what are you seeing that can really be valuable for someone on live right now?
Well, I think a lot of what we're seeing is, number one, you have to understand that marketing is important and it's valuable. And also, I think there's a lot of, I can't swear, I'm guessing. There's a lot of,
BS.
BS that goes through.
See, Rosa's even upset at all BS.
Yeah, there's a lot of BS that happens where people, especially marketers, they try to make it seem like they're amazing and super smart and nobody can replicate what they're doing and they just are so great at doing all these things, but it's really not that complicated. And that's something that I think the marketing industry as a whole wants you to think it's really complicated so that you'll hire them and give them more money. I mean, I think I see that a lot with, I don't want to shame agencies or freelancers, but I think just understanding that yes, they do provide a valuable service. And if you don't have the time and you don't have the means and it's not a strength of yours, there's no problem with outsourcing that. But understanding that there's a lot of marketing jargon, and it's not as complex as they would like you to think.
And most industries do. And that's something that as it being a startup world, you see a lot. There's a lot of jargon everywhere, in the financial industry, real estate. There's jargon all around there. What we identified was, why should there be? Why can't we just make it simple? I mean, that was why we wrote the book. They're excited. They're so excited.
Yeah, that's the cat scratching on stuff.
See, Matt, I brought you the cat. I see you in there, and I think that's a perfect like way to highlight what's actually going on in the industry, which is ready. Like people right now, you and I have the ability to market like no other. I mean, we're streaming live. This would cost us tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to do at scale. But yeah, you're right. That's part of the old school way of doing it. So let's back it up a little bit. How did you get into marketing? Because there's many people here that look at you and say, "Hey, maybe she's been a marketer for so long. Maybe I can't even get to that level." So how did you get to the stage?
I actually, when I was 14 or 15, to be honest with you, I really just I didn't have a phone. I really wanted one. And so I kind of talked to my mom, and she kind of was like, "Oh, I think I know some a small business owner that might need some help with social media." And I was like, I could definitely do that for them. So I started helping small businesses in my local town. I'm actually from Prescott, Arizona, so a couple hours north of Phoenix. And I started helping a couple small businesses in my hometown with their social media efforts and really helping them kind of sorry, Nico just brought a candle over here, which is super funny.
I like candles.
Yeah, so I just started out really helping them understand who their market was, how to put together content that would resonate with their market. So in this town I'm from, most of the people there are on Facebook, and especially at the time, that was probably, I don't know, that was a long time ago, I guess.
It's not that. It's a couple years ago.
How old am I?
19, 20, 21. I don't know. 21? Yeah, 21.
Yeah, so 7 years ago, right? 7 years ago. Everybody was on Facebook. That was really the best way to market. And also Facebook organic was doing awesome at that time. You could create a lot of content and have it do really well organically, especially in those hyper-localized markets. So that's something I did a lot of and, continued doing all the way through college. And now kind of taking a lot of that experience I gained working with, things like flooring businesses and small media and news, and combining all of that experience and using that to kind of create what I think is a really, really awesome thing coming up. So keep an eye out for Boundless.
And what platforms right now, because you're talking Facebook had this amazing organic reach. What platforms of today have amazing reach?
Nico has been lecturing me about TikTok for so long, and he is absolutely right.
And
LinkedIn, yes. And actually podcasts as well. And there's a lot of Pinterest actually still has really good organic.
This is fantastic. Oh.
So understanding those platforms that haven't become completely ads, right? If you're looking through Instagram and you don't see an ad, you're not following anybody, basically. Rosa has an Instagram. Even when I'm scrolling through her feed, I'm constantly seeing they're here's my code, buy my dog treats, do all these things. And it's at that point, it's not you feel like you're just watching the commercials on TV, right? What we used to just that's what you used to get up and go to the bathroom, right? When the commercials would come on TV. And now that we don't really have those commercials on TV because everybody streams, or you have 10 to 15 second commercials. I think the platforms that don't have those super, super insane amounts of ads, that's where a lot of that comes in. And that's where a lot of the organic reach, that's where you can succeed in that. So TikTok, because it hasn't become super commercialized yet. Pinterest, they haven't actually made any money. They've been around for a super long time and they haven't made any money because they haven't been pushing their ads super hard.
That's true.
It's weird that unprofitable companies are definitely the ones that have the best organic reach.
I wouldn't say necessarily all the unprofitable ones. That's just this one use case. Again, TikTok is part of forgot the company's name that owns it, but they're ByteDance. Yeah, I think they're public in China. I think they make some money. LinkedIn was bought by Microsoft, so they make. I think they make money, but
parent companies making money is not the same as the platform.
That's true. That is true.
So TikTok I don't know how much money they're burning through, but I don't think they're really making any yet. But that's something too where you have to recognize when a platform is up and coming, they won't make any money.
Yeah, because there's that, and this is
You
really
have to get people invested first.
it's funny because there yesterday or a couple days ago, I think 2 days ago, I talked about the supply and demand curve, which is really convenient because we have someone who actually got a degree in economics that can probably explain the supply and demand curve better than I can. But the reason I'm going to interject is because, again, organic on these platforms are amazing because supply is.
1 second.
We're waiting. Anticipation. We're building it here.
The supply of content is low.
And
For
the
those
demand
instances,
is.
but the demand is super high. So like TikTok, where you have tons of people going live constantly, they are producing tons of content super constantly. There's just a lot of influx of content, and it's genuine content. And the way they've curated the platform is definitely one of it's like addictive in nature, and it's a lot more positive than I think you see on other platforms. I think a lot of other platforms, they don't really seem super genuine, and there's a lot of, I don't know. I feel like when
it's still young. Marketers
yeah.
here. The truth is, marketers haven't just ruined it yet. So as long as marketers haven't ruined it, we should use it, and we should be the ones ruining it. But it's funny because it's really important to focus on organic. But I think Laura ushered brought a really good comment on here, which said, LinkedIn organic reach, please do not the tick, right? And it's interesting because I want to highlight the fact that these platforms always come and go. And remember, LinkedIn was primarily a platform that you could only really post articles. And I mean, they didn't get video until about 18 months ago, something like that.
Like a year and a half.
So the platforms always change. MySpace was one of the biggest platforms in the world until people left the platform. And this directly correlates to what we're talking about, the supply and demand curve, is these platforms are really just kind of holding spots, right, for communities and people. I mean, platforms are changed, but there will always be those people.
And when you talk about organic, you have to recognize too that it all depends on your audience. So if your audience is maybe 12 to 13, your organic reach
under 18, I would say.
Yeah, if you're under 18 and your organic reach on TikTok is going to be incredible. But if your audience is under 18, your organic reach on LinkedIn is probably not going to be that beneficial to you. You always have to be speaking to your audience, and organic reach definitely, it follows where the people are. So where there's concentrations of if you are generally, I don't want to roast Facebook too much, but Facebook has, the average age is, I think I saw 45.
It's a little up there.
It's a lot older. If you want to reach those people, that's a great place to be.
We're going to put this in context because I'm going to get yelled at if I don't. 45 is not old, but we're seeing that the majority of people using the platforms actively still on a per daily / weekly basis is the age demographic between 55 and 95. That's actually if you're trying to market the people within that range, fantastic. 40 to about 55 is okay. A lot of those users are switching to primarily using LinkedIn or Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to throw that out there. If you're 45, you're not old.
Yeah, we're not saying
putting
you're
it
old.
out there.
You're not old.
So I'm not getting yelled at again. I accidentally made that mistake once talking to my mom. And trust me, Larissa's nice, but my mom went, so I'm ringing in my ears. So keep going. What you said. I totally just messed everything up. That's okay.
Oh, no. It's definitely fine. I think really just the point of what I was saying is yes, there are some platforms that kind of seem overrun with ads, and it really is, you got to follow where that organic reach is. And organic reach on Facebook exists. It definitely is still there. But it's not the same as the organic reach on platforms like LinkedIn or TikTok. It really is all about knowing your audience and knowing where they are. If you have a message that resonates with them and you go to the platform where they're on, you're going to have great organic reach. It's not really that complicated, You just need to, marketing is all about telling a specific message to specific people at a specific time.
Who said that? That's one of the cool
Nika said that. I've been stealing that from him for months.
No, but it's true. It's true. And by the way, see, this is why I knew I had to throw in that because Darren, you are not old, and Tim, you're not old either. You both are amazing, amazing people. So let's. That's why I make sure to throw this out because we're live streaming. This thing is forever. What I do want you to talk about a little bit more is the fact of communicating a specific message. And I think that's something that you and I, when we work with clients and really help people with their marketing, that's one of the hardest things for them to nail down. Talk to us about that experience and like how you think about, because specific message, someone might be thinking, oh, I sell containers. So do I just talk about the containers? Or do I talk about like what?
That's a good example. We can roll with that. Okay,
let's use it. We're using containers.
So let's say I run Hydro Flask, right? And
we make so much money.
Yeah, and we are rolling in it, but we want to make even more. And we want to really capitalize on our marketing efforts. So we want to know, like, what is our message? Well, Hydro Flask's message, of course, like their product is like they have water bottles and they have like a relatively good brand around it, and that people, recognize the quality and are willing to pay like $30 to $50 for a water bottle, right? That's really the benefit Hydro Flask has, but that's not their message. Their message is really, kind of, I think, the feeling that a Hydro Flask evokes, right? Like when you see a Hydro Flask, usually they're covered in stickers, they really scream like adventure. That's the message they're trying to sell. They're trying to sell adventure. And when you go on those adventures, don't forget to take your Hydro with you. That's the message they're saying. That's their message. And that can take a lot of forms. So it can be like, oh, like, heading to the gym, don't forget your Hydro. Going out for a hike or a drive, don't forget your Hydro.
And by the way, this is not a sponsor.
Yeah, we're not sponsored, but Hydro Flask, if you want to sponsor us,
if you want to sponsor the Boundless TV experience, you totally do that. But I'm so glad you said feeling, because really that's all we're really trying to communicate. And I love the fact that you talked about that. See, our cat is excited about the Hydro as well. But really, that's the truth. Like when you're marketing, all you're trying to do is communicate a specific message, and the message is usually that feeling. Because if it's just a price game, why would someone pay $30-$40 for a Hydro Flask when they can buy Contigo? Is this Contigo? Mm-hmm. And this Contigo was like $13, I think, after tax. Right?
I think there is an off-brand Hydro Flask that is literally the exact same. I'm pretty sure it's like the exact same. It's on Amazon for like $10. I forget what it's called, but
it's called not Hydro Flask.
Yeah, it's not a Hydro Flask. And like I knew it existed, but I bought a Hydro anyway because I'm like, the brand means something, right?
And this is, I'm so glad you brought it up, because what I tell people in marketing and even in business all the time is your competitor is going to steal almost every single thing about your brand. Again, if someone has like that look, like they stole it. But the one thing they can't steal is the fact that you care more about your end user. And I love this because I know you're passionate about caring about the end user as well, but that really is the game changer, right? They can steal everything, your logos, your designs, your marketing, but they can't steal how much you care about the end user. So talk to us through that, because you've worked with some small businesses before, and that's kind of the genesis on why you started Boundless, focusing on small businesses. My favorite story is when you I'm gonna let you go because I think you already know.
Wait, what story?
Oh, the small business. When you worked at the flower shop.
Okay, I mean, yeah, like when I was in high school, I worked at a garden shop. I don't know
was that it?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm messing it up.
At Waters Garden, hit me up.
But talk to us about like why you care about this messaging small businesses, because your mom has a small business. Again, none of my family has it. So like, why? I
think, especially when you grow up in a really small town where maybe bigger companies, they haven't necessarily even seen it as worth it to enter those markets, small businesses really thrive. And I don't want to say that in places like Tempe, for example, which is where we are now, that small businesses don't thrive here. It's just that when you're competing in a more centralized, like metropolitan area, you definitely, like, if you own like a sandwich shop, all of a sudden you're competing against Chick-fil-A, Cane's, all these other like super big brand names. And maybe what you sell is better. It probably is. I mean, I've eaten at all those establishments and what you sell is probably better. But people are still going to go to those big names. Whereas in small towns specifically, like in Prescott, there is not a Chick-fil-A currently. I'm pretty sure Prescott Valley, which is like the neighboring town, got a Chick-fil-A, and it was like a big deal. Everybody showed up because they were like, Chick-fil-A is here, So that's the kind of thing where I think when you recognize that there isn't the competition from a lot of those larger entities, that smaller businesses can thrive a bit more. In which case, when you're competing in more of like a hyper localized market as opposed to, larger markets, it's a little bit easier for small businesses. I don't think I answered the question.
I know. I think I completely took the question and then just threw it out with the example. But I mean, that's what the live stream is all about. But what you did say in there was interesting. The fact that I want you to talk about how a small business can stand out against competition. I think that's because you kind of mentioned a little bit more, and I kind of want you to talk about the story in there as well.
All right. Well, we can use. So I worked in high school at a garden shop. It's called Waters Garden. They're actually really well known because they have a lot of expertise and they do a lot of things in the community as far as they would hold, seminar type things every Saturday and people would show up, it was totally free. People would show up and they would teach them gardening tips and, they would hand out nice little freebies every once in a while. And it got a ton of people in the door, but people would go to Waters, even though their price points were higher than Walmart or Lowe's or Home Depot, which I guess is where you get other plants. I don't know. I'm not a big plant shopper. But I mean, when you're looking at the competition there and the competition for gardening, so let's just say peonies, right? Competition for peonies, you're competing against all these giant other organizations. But at the end of the day, people would still come into Waters, and they came into Waters because they knew, number one, they could go in and they wouldn't just get, peonies, they would also get expertise. So they would be I know how to feed these peonies. I know the right fertilizer to use. I know the right amount of water to use. They were really helpful in telling me when I should plant it, where specifically I should plant it, how much sun it needs. That's the type of thing and that's, I guess a good example in that instance, in that there's a lot of specialization and just knowledge and personalization small businesses can provide that larger businesses really struggle with. You don't go to Walmart because you want to have a great customer experience. You go to Walmart probably because it's 2 a.m. and you didn't want to get out of your pajamas and you just really, really need toothpaste.
And their slogan is save money, live better, right? You're just
it's going to be cheap and they're probably going to have what you need. You go there out of necessity, not that you're super excited and you want to learn about all these things. I've asked people at Walmart for help with stuff and I'm I don't know which of these to get. And they're just can't help you. And then they just leave, which to be fair, is a little bit,
We're a friend.
Hey, Corey.
We're having a guest, the famous Neko. It's kind of like Nico, but not. It's with an E. So this is the famous Neko. She is the Chief Happiness Officer here at Boundless Media, and his job. We just found out that Neko's.
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. So Neko's not a girl. Neko's a boy, and we had to just tell HR that everything is fine. But Chief Happiness Officer right there. She's awesome. He's awesome.
It's been a bit of an adjustment finding out that the cat I thought was a female is actually a male.
But that is part of marketing. Sometimes you have this amazing plan, and you think you know everything. Turns out, forgot one thing.
Turns out it's kind of the opposite of the thing you thought it was, but it doesn't actually make a difference anyway.
I think so. Mitchell in here is brought up a very good point, and he said you have to find out what your clients want, nurture that, and build upon it. I think that's key. So I'm going to bring an example about how to kind of nurture, especially on a digital platform, because that's what Boundless Media, myself and Larissa specialize in. And I'll hand it off to you because you might have a little bit to add to that. So how do you, the one thing that we see with small businesses is a lot of them have the passionate stories and the mechanisms to engage with their audience. But the goal is to get repeatable business, and to do that, you kind of have to nurture the end user. Whether someone bought or didn't, you still want to keep that warm lead warm. So one way to do it is to post content, is to share your message for significantly lower prices at the places where your audience is at. So whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Quora, Medium, it doesn't matter. Wherever your audience is, you want to kind of facilitate and nurture those relationships through content. being top of mind is important, right? Maybe I don't need flowers right now, but when I do want flowers, I want that company to know that I'm ready, or I want that company wants me to know that they're ready whenever they need help. So what do you think about that kind of how to nurture a client?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it, I mean, I'm sure all of us have probably had the experience where like, I have a question, the first thing I do is Google it, right? Or the first thing, it depends on what it is. Sometimes I look it up on like Pinterest if I want to really get like, inspired or whatever. But usually the first thing I do, like if I have a question, like if I want to know more about, let's say like email courses, for example, that's something a lot of people are getting into now, or newsletters. The first thing I do is I Google, I'm like, how do you do a newsletter? And then all these like blog posts come up. A lot of times that's really like, they educate you, they really help you learn. And then usually at the end of it, they're like, oh, by the way, like, do you want to take part in my free course? Or, just for a limited time, I'll offer this at a discount. Those are the type of things that a lot of like blogs and content, they really inspire you to like get a little bit more engaged, right? And to be fair, most people won't. Most people won't take that extra step, but that doesn't matter, because really what you want is, of course, you want a lot of people taking the extra step, but what you want to do is you want to focus on the people who are super invested in you and what you're selling, right? So if I have a blog post that outlines, here's how to do, email newsletter, and here's how you market it, here's how you can do drip campaigns, all these fancy stuff, here's a couple software recommendations, and then I get to the end of the blog post, and it's like, here, like, you want to take my course? It's free, like, I'll sign you up, it's no problem. I am so much more likely to get consulting from that person, to look to them for trusted advice, if I see that they're actively putting out content that is super valuable to me in an area that I need help in. And they know I need help in it because I signed up for their free course, or I took advantage of like the sale that they have going on, or I felt that I wanted to support them and I used one of their affiliate codes. That's a really good example of how you can use content to kind of nurture those warm leads and kind of just get them to see you as number one, like
the expert.
Yeah, the expert in the field, and somebody to look for when you need help with something else, right?
And that's why we talk about the 3 E's, and that's why I really push businesses to think about when they do content marketing like that, you have to first, entertain, educate, and engage. And the reason we say that is you first have to entertain someone to get their attention, right? We get ads and content continuously. We can go.
Dude, I'm a goldfish. If you don't capture me in 9 seconds, I'm not interested.
It's less though. You literally, for websites, I think it's about 15 seconds. But for posts, you have about 3 to 5 seconds before someone keeps scrolling. Like, how many times you log on to LinkedIn and the first couple of posts, you're like, no, and then you find what you like, right? We are really, really good at filtering out the things we don't want. So you got to get their attention. Then you got to move to build trust. Because again, like you mentioned, if you don't have trust with that business, then why should they pick you over Walmart, right? Absolutely. So you have to build that trust, and that's really where you want to create content and tailored education, right? Educational pieces like, this is how you do X, Y, Z, and this is the right instances to do it, and these are the 5 how-tos on how not to do it. Right. And then you want to move to engage, because again, we can go buy the flowers from Walmart, but like she had mentioned, it might not be that personalized experience. You might not tailor the conversation to what I need. That's what they're there, right? And if you have their attention, you have trust with them, you're much more likely to open up and actually have a much warmer conversation with that end person. So just want to highlight that, because it's not just, oh, I got to post content now, so let me find 10 links and throw it up. Because it can work the opposite for you. If it's not beneficial to your audience, then they'll just switch over and be like, oh, ignore it. It's spam. It's boring. It's not applicable to me. Mm-hmm. So you want to really, really focus on tailored content to the context of your audience.
Yeah. And that's one area where like hyper targeting your audience becomes really helpful, right? Like when we break it down to, marketing is telling a specific message to specific people at a specific time. When we want to find who those specific people are, we really want to look and see like, what content have we been putting out and how has it been resonating with our audience? So if I put out like a content piece, and let's say I got 5 leads from it, that's way more beneficial than something I put out and there was like no bites, right? So I don't want to focus on the thing that people didn't really seem that interested anymore. I want to focus on what I created that really got those 5 people really interested. And I want to look at who they are and what else they're interested in and how I can maybe provide value for them in that other space.
Absolutely. So we're getting down to the last little bit of the live stream. What I want to do is always keep these between 30 and 40 minutes, because sometimes when it goes a little long, then you get tired, especially doing live. It's a lot of engaging. So we want to keep this very concise, to the point. Plus, we appreciate you guys taking your Saturdays to listen to these 2 crazy kids over here. So fireside chat time. I'm gonna throw out a couple of questions.
Okay.
Answer as fast as you can, and we've done in like 5-ish minutes. So if you have any questions, throw them in here, because we want to answer those for you. So let's start. So someone's listening to us. How can they get started today marketing for their business? First place to start.
I would say, remember what we've been saying this whole time, right? Like, marketing is telling a specific message. What is your message? Really establish what your message is to specific people. Who are your people? And at a specific time, and I think time also kind of is like specific place, location. So where are they? When is the best time to reach them? How can you really focus on like consolidating all of that and establishing message, people, time, and place?
Awesome. So now that I know kind of how to get started, what platforms should I care about?
Don't care about platforms your clients aren't on. Don't waste your time. That's something a lot
But they're not on, right?
That they're not.
Okay,
yeah. I don't know if I misspoke.
No, you're good. I heard something. I was like, I hope she said not. Because
like, if your clients are on LinkedIn, focus that energy there. If your clients have if they're like probably up there in age, TikTok might not be your best bet, you know? If it won't give you returns, it's not worth it.
And I'm gonna just throw this in, not part of this fireside chat time, but 70, 20, 10, 70% investment time, resources in the one platform that's doing the best for you, 20 on something that's up and coming, and then 10 on something that's completely out there. But really focus your majority of your time and energy and focus onto the platforms that are working today. Okay, one of the last questions I have. If you had to pick, which one of your pets is your favorite?
Oh, you can. That's not a fair question. I feel like my dog loves me more than my cat loves me.
Yeah, maybe that's. I'll preface the piece of content with what pet loves me the most. And this is a question I like the most. But what resource would you recommend for someone really wanting to invest in their business right now when it comes to marketing?
Well, I'm a big data person, so I think you can never go wrong with getting as much data as you can and as much analytics as you can. The problem that comes with that, like let's say if you really focus on Facebook and Facebook Ad Manager gives you like 10 million data points, right? You can't focus on all of that. It's really about determining what your key performance indicators are, which like KPI, that's what that stands for. And knowing like when this number spikes, that's really good. Or when this number spikes, that is really bad. It's kind of recognizing, find like 3 to 5 of those KPIs and focusing on making those go up.
Pareto's principle, guys. What's the 20% that's getting the 80% of the outcome? We want to focus down on that. If you have unlimited resources or time or money, then do everything. But most likely, if you're like us, small business or entrepreneur getting started,
or anybody,
or really, has a limit on their marketing spend, then 80-20 rule. So love that. Last question. What's one closing remark that you have for people that have been listening?
One closing remark. I would just say if you aren't marketing or if you don't know how to do it, really take the time to learn and educate yourself. And remember, like, Rome wasn't built in a day and it wasn't built alone. So you can definitely reach out if you need any help with anything, or even if you just really want to learn how to get started. We're actually in the middle of running our beta for Boundless right now. So if you're interested about that, reach out.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
hard sell. Just get started. And that's what I would say. My closing remark would be: just get started. You're not going to get it right the first time. And the one example I used yesterday, I don't know if you've heard this example, is it's the Thomas Edison approach, right? We know something is going to work for these lights. We don't know what the material is going to be, but we're going to go and invest the time and energy to find out what that piece of material is that will get us a functioning light bulb. Your marketing is the same way. I doubt it's going to take you 1,000 times to find that, but it's going to take you a couple times to get going with the plan that's right for you. But you can't get to that point unless you get started. So that's my last little closing remark. Anything else? Anything else for the live community today?
Thanks for putting up with my pets and all the like weird noises they've been making. They do love to run around.
If you guys really wanted a full production thing, let us know at the bottom. I don't necessarily think I want to do that because I think we've always, you can get that anywhere. We want to give you the real raw stuff that actually moves your business forward. Part of that is unexpected fun with pets. That's a whole new series.
A big part of that is pets.
We'll start unexpected bloopers with pets series. I think we should start doing that. We'll have a camera going next time and filming them. I think that's
Rose has been pretty tame. She's just been sleeping.
She's having a good time. She's doing what I want to do, which is take a quick nap.
Retweet.
So we will do that. Thank you guys so much for paying attention, for being with us on this live experience. If you want any more information about anything we brought up, please let me know. Always here to produce the best content that move your business forward. Answer any questions. I will tag Larissa in there. If you do not follow her, she's actually going to start posting a lot more starting on Monday around the concept of organizational structures, how to actually optimize, and what the life of a COO is. So David T, thanks for jumping in. You did miss it, but I will send you a link. Again, some great content in here for small businesses, how to get started, the mechanisms to make it work, and then just fun with pets. Who wants to give that up on a Saturday? So I will send you the links if you guys want. Please let us know if we can ever help out, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. And we're gonna have a couple of seconds. We're just gonna keep